This episode was extremely fun, but at the same time, it was very frustrating to me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am not merciful, especially when someone like this guy right here, as you see in the screen, named Aston. Aston used to be in the same party as Zenos, but he treated Zenos pretty much like dirt, pretty much like a doge, in the streets, like a hobo, because he was. But that doesn't give him an excuse to just treat him like a slave and not even pay him for his services. Okay, so this guy right here, obviously, he's all beat up and naked, and obviously he's gonna get his justice served. But at any given time, Xenos could have ended his life. Like many overpowered protagonists, he showed mercy and decided to keep him alive. And for a lot of you guys probably think, death is too quick. Death is too merciful. I mean, if it was something like Overlord, I think that really does play a big part here. Because in Overlord, he can literally just perpetually keep them tortured, infinitely. But here, he could have just ended, he kept them alive. And while being alive does serve as a punishment, see, look, it's a miracle that disaster of this skill happened without a single fatality. Of course, because Xenos is just so overpowered, and he was able to do that. And so, he's done more than just treat Xenos like crap. He ended up destroying this whole entire city known as the slums. Attempted assassination, revenge by proxy, indiscriminate, damage of personal property, and many more counts. And even indecency. This guy is, the creme of the creme when it comes to just breaking all the rules, doing shit like just because of selfish reasons, a fleeing arrest, false testimony. Look, all these things, he's done so much, batshit crazy stuff that shouldn't be forgiven. And like I said, guys, Xenos showed him so much mercy that it was just so hard for me to watch. When someone is a trash human and they deserve death. But he gave him a second chance. And this second chance, guys, is extremely merciful. Because like I said, it's not like he's going to be in perpetual torture for the rest of his life. Well, while he will have guilt on his shoulders, he will have guilt in his consciousness. He will have guilt. He's going to feel bad. And then, of course, there's the other reasoning for keeping people alive. Is that by keeping them alive, they can pay back their dues. Try to do, repay all the damage you've done and double it with the kindness that the person is capable of. Now, I can see that as well. But it's just so hard, guys. In the heat of the moment, what would you guys choose? Would you guys choose to just end their existence? Because if I were to be honest, yes, I would. If, fear didn't take over me. Because, taking a life, it shouldn't necessarily come natural. But if you see how we are in our makeup as humans, yeah. Death is in our history for a reason. And death is just so swift. And for a lot of you guys, you would think it's merciful. But this guy really was just a trash human being doing A to Z for all the things that you shouldn't do in life, especially to someone and especially to families. Just think about it, guys. He destroyed a lot of people's homes. He destroyed a lot of people's families. And if it wasn't for how overpowered Zeno is, a lot of people would have died, lost their lives. But he ended, Xenos was able to recuperate everything and show mercy to this guy named Aston. So I get it. Within the anime context, yeah, I get it. He is allowed to show mercy. He is allowed to give this guy a second chance. But guys, if it was me, bro, this guy wouldn't be getting a second chance. This guy would have been Thanos snapped in a heartbeat, in a blink of an eye. But of course, Xenos is just such a merciful guy in this anime called The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows, or Yami Healer. Guys, this guy is just overpowered. So if you guys don't know what this anime is about, I'll give a quick summary, a quick recap about what is this anime about. Life hasn't been kind to Xenos. He was born in the slums, and his dirt poor background has denied him almost every opportunity. After an encounter with a healer, he throws himself into studying to become one, and finally catches a break when an adventurer invites Xenos into his party. Xenos is thrilled, so thrilled, in fact, that he's willing to put up with his teammates treating him like garbage. They fail to appreciate his talents and normally kick him to the curb, claiming he's outlived his usefulness to them. Now, bereft of money and out of options, Zenos decides to put his self-taught skills to use elsewhere and opens an underground clinic where it quickly spreads about the brilliant healer working incredible magic in the city's shadowy underbelly. Even the royal palace is taken notice. So yeah, this blonde girl right here, she's part of the royal palace. What's her name again? Her name is Krishna. She sounds like a Hindu god. Can Zenos buck the odds and carve out a life for himself in a role that's spit in his face? And can he save the lives of the patients who wind up on his doorstep in the process? So yeah, guys, this guy is pretty much just a jack of all trades. You know, he's an overpowered healer. He has overpowered protection. He has overpowered buffs. He has overpowered strength. You know, he can do it all to himself, not just to his party. You know, so he could do all this. Of course, he's not like, you know, godlike, you know, but at the end of the day, he is overpowered. But you guys can see here, this giant golem just pretty much destroyed everything. With the help of his teammates, can mitigate the damage, round up everyone, and heal everyone with his overpowered skills. But yeah, guys, like I said, it was just really hard for me to watch when he showed mercy. But of course, when he punched him in the face, I did feel a bit better. But at the same time, I wish he did some overlord shit and just put him in perpetual torment. That's the other thing that I would have, you know, it would have made me feel better. You know, honestly, you know, some people deserve mercy and some people don't. But yeah, that is all, guys. That's all I really wanted to get off my shoulders. This anime so far has just been so much fun, especially all the gals and seeing them in action with Zenos. Because all Zenos has really been doing so far is just, like it said in the description, you know, as the recap, he's just a healer at the moment, an overpowered healer, the Yami Healer. And I just hope we see more action from him buffing these gals in battle. But that is all, guys. Peace.